Dungeons & Dragons is a game about throwing rocks to get big numbers that will eventually form into a mostly cohesive story with more plot holes than a 10-year-old gotcha life story. And I love it, but sometimes those numbers you're rolling just ain't doing the trick. So this series will be dedicated to helping players fix that through some simple optimization. Welcome to Minmaxing Methods. Now, when I say min-maxing, I don't mean the typical sacrificing everything for the sake of rolling big numbers. What I actually mean is just some simple methods and reminders of specific things that D&D classes can do. So you can actually stand up to the group of goblins instead of letting them rob you of all your personal possessions while you sit there and watch helplessly. So in truth, this series is mostly just going to be making some decently strong characters and ranting about how cool they are because I love talking about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to be starting off this series with the Bard, the class that more often than not is really good at doing everything except for hitting things, because the moment you're in a scenario where you can't seduce the big scary bad guy, you're going to be looking more scared than me when I see a spider in Lethal Company. I've carefully separated this video into 3 separate parts: my choice of subclass, good multiclassing options, and finally spells, along with a level 20 character that I'm going to make using the knowledge that I've gained. For references to what qualifies as actually in Dungeons & Dragons and not just what is wacky homebrew, I'm going to be using spells, subclasses, and base class information that can be found on the D&D 5e wiki. And I'm ignoring some very specific things from Unearthed Arcana to save some time in writing the script and producing this video. Also, that way I'm not including some outrageous homebrew that no DM would ever dream of allowing in their fantasy world. So here's the subclasses ranked by how good or bad I think their ability can be used in combat scenarios. The College of Eloquence Bard is the queen of gaslighting, gatekeeping, and girl bossing, but sadly that's pretty much it. In terms of fighting, you're about as competent as I am as releasing videos consistently. Sure, the insults you throw are universally understood to be more brutal than the smell of the high school men's locker room, and you're great at giving savvy motivational speeches, but I'm trying to deal big numbers to my enemies, not rally them to the cause. Believe me, they're not interested. Glamour Bards are the definition of utility. You're not trying to attack your enemy, but instead trying to make your party members look better than Sam Sulek during bulking season. Mantle of Inspiration is amazing and can tip the scales in your favor if you or your party are trapped in a cramped area, whether that be because enemies are blocking you or the party's barbarian took the term frontliner a bit too literally and refuses to get out of your way so the rest of the party can get into the dungeon. Mantle of Majesty gives you the ability to feel like your average female Twitch streamer because you get to tell your followers what to do and they will do it exactly without any questions asked. The Unbreakable Majesty only boosts that. However, due to the lack of actual combat ability, I personally wouldn't play Glamour Bard. However, it is still something I would recommend playing if you want to help your party more than help yourself. College of Whispers is very similar to College of Eloquence in the sense of it's pretty good outside of combat, but when it comes to fighting, it lacks a bit of the things I would want to have. Yes, you get a sum of extra damage that you can add to your weapon attacks, and yes, you can scare your enemies more than I scared my parents when I cut off the tip of my thumb with a mandolin slicer, but like I said, it lacks a lot of the things that I would want for combat. College of Spirits is where we start to get some pretty powerful bard subclasses that have some intense potential to be great on the battlefield. I will always be appreciative of an additional damage die to roll that I get to add to damage or healing spells, not to mention the Tales from Beyond ability where you get to bestow a magical effect onto a creature of your choice within 30 feet of you. And at 6th level, if you get enough people to join you in a little ritual, which bards are normally pretty good at doing, you can learn some special spells from the School of Necromancy or Divination. College of Spirits bards are good at making both yourself or your allies stronger while still being able to handle yourself on the battlefield, if the need arises. College of Lore is so high on this list strictly because of the additional magical secrets ability, where you get to choose 2 spells from any spell list as long as you have the correct level spell slots to cast it, meaning our good old 8d6 fire damaging friend, Fireball. The number 1 spell to solve any of your problems anytime. Need to deal some big damage to that large pack of goblins? Fireball. Need to not so carefully deconstruct a house because an evil wizard is hiding in the inside? Fireball. Need to get the attention of your party that refuses to listen to you because you solve all your problems with violence? Fireball. College of Swords is my second favorite of the Bard subclasses simply because you get to ignore all that fancy shit that was previously mentioned in this video because you have something that is leagues more powerful than all of it. It's called a knife. Blade Flourishes give you extra damage and also an additional effect depending on which one you choose to use. The effect could be upping your AAC, dealing more damage to your enemies, or making use of the age-old tactic of fight and flee, where you swing, hope that you hit, and then leave faster than the average substitute teacher after seeing a class of modern freshmen, not to mention extra attack, which also allows you to do a bit more with your turn before waiting another hour because either people aren't paying attention or the spellcasters can't figure out what the hell they're doing. You won't catch me dead playing a College of Valor Bard. They're just College of Swords, but worse. My favorite of the Bard colleges, College of Creation, the people who are able to bend the cosmos to their will and use it to frustrate dungeon masters around the world. Your Bardic Inspiration gets a major increase in its utility. You gain the ability to create a huge variety of different equipment simply by riffing. And then you can turn that thing you created, or any item that you can find on the street, into a flying killing machine that attacks alongside you. Sure, College of Swords is amazing to play in combat because of its capabilities that it has, but I prefer playing bards like a Terraria summoner, not doing any actual work on my own because I have minions for that. Now we're on to some multi-classing options. The Bard is very much so a utility class, so I personally wouldn't ever multi-class into a different utility class, which means I'm going to put Druid, Ranger, and Rogue off the table. I would only do these multi-class options if it were for story reasons. Playing a College of Creation Bard multi-classed into an Artificer sounds amazing, but any other Bard subclass I cannot personally see being all that great. I'm pretty neutral when it comes to multi-classing a Bard with any of the three primary spellcasting classes. That kind of thing just depends on what you want your character to personally be played. Hybrid classes such as the Cleric, Paladin, and Blood Hunter are all great options. Good luck making that work in story, though. Then we get to my personal favorite, the Barbarian, where you can channel your inner Screamo fan and riff with more emotions than Andrew Neiman from Whiplash. For the spell focus section of this video, I'm going to be listing my top cantrips and spells from each level and the best ways that I would utilize them, and the spells that I will never use even if my life depended on it. Starting out with cantrips in third place, Minor Illusion, a great way of potentially convincing your DM that you deserve a surprise round because God knows you need it. Second place, we have Thunderclap, some easy damage if you're not trying to use a spell slot, or just a really good way of getting the attention of your party who is still refusing to listen to you. And in first place for the Bard cantrips, we have the legendary Vicious Mockery, the best way to make your enemies hurt both physically and emotionally. Because you called them a weak little baby whose weak little baby numbers could never count as any sort of threat worth a challenge rating. If I've got nothing else to do on the battlefield, you can bet your ass I'm going to be slinging out more insults than Gordon Ramsay at a McDonald's. In terms of the spells that you wouldn't catch me dead using, we have Light because Dancing Lights is better, Friends because I exist to make the opposite, and True Strike because it's stupid. On to the first level spells. In third place, we have Charm Person. I may not be here to make friends, but the potential to temporarily make an enemy stop clawing at my ankles sounds pretty helpful. In second, we have Silvery Barbs, because overall it's a pretty useful reaction to have. And in first place, we have Thunderwave, because it's a superior thunderclap that can be upcasted to deal immense amounts of damage that probably violate some sort of law. There's only really one first level spell that I wouldn't use, and that's Illusory Script. It's too situational for me to want it. Second level spells are easy. Crown of Madness, Clod of Daggers, and Invisibility. Crown of Madness and Invisibility pair really well with one another, as you can gain some control over a creature that can do some pretty big damage, all while remaining unseen by the enemies. And if you lose control over the target, you still have some time to figure out something because you're invisible. I'm never going to choose Magic Mouth because if you're playing a bard, you already have a Magic Mouth, if you know what I'm saying, and it's pretty much just a higher level illusory script. I'll also never use Locate Plants or Animals as a bard. That's a kind of spell I'd use if I were playing someone who cared about medicine or whatever. But all I care about is dealing big numbers. For third level spells, my favorite is Antagonize, because are you kidding me? It's funny as hell. I tell someone they suck and they take 44 psychic damage, and they have to attack the closest creature of my choice because of how angry they are. That's just a better Vicious Mockery, and it's also funny as hell. I'm never going to have Speak with Plants in my arsenal because that's what we have the Druid for. What useful information can the plant give me anyways? Unless it's a mushroom, those guys are pretty chill. Due to the fact that this video is taking much longer than I expected it to, I'm going to speedrun my favorite spells for levels 4 through 9. Ready? Here we go. Ego Whip is funny because you can make your enemies feel bad about themselves to a point where they're bad at everything. Yes, I am a bad person, but it's funny. Animate Objects is great because I get to turn those Explorer's Kit items that I'll never use into something that is actually useful. Auto's Irresistible Dance is funny as hell because all of those who oppose me now have to dance, dance, and only dance. Mordenkainen's Sword is yet another minifigure that I can throw onto the battle map to give the DM more things to keep track of. Feeble Mind is another great spell because it allows me to make everyone else dumber than the rest of the party, giving them at least a somewhat decent chance at victory. I couldn't find anything more creative for my 9th level spell of choice because there's only really one obvious choice: Power Word Kill. It's quick, it's easy, and it works. It just works. No saving throw or nothing. As long as the creature is below 100 hit points, they're dead. Zero questions asked. And that finishes the spell section of this video. Now wait here while I go craft a level 20 character. Nearly broke a sweat with that one. There we have it. 1 level in Barbarian, 19 levels of Bard, leaving us with 20 total levels of Kick-Ass. To analyze this a bit more, I took my first level in Barbarian for a boost in hit points, as well as all the proficiencies I need, because a lot of the proficiencies that I really want from the Bard I can just get from multiclassing into it. For subclasses, I did end up going with the College of Swords, despite all the raving about College of Creation, simply because I'm trying to make a character that can almost be a frontliner with this build, and the things I need to do that come from College of Swords. For my character's race, I chose Tiefling for the bonus to Charisma, and for my background, I didn't choose one because it barely adds anything and I don't care enough to look through and pick the one that works. In summary, the key to making stronger characters is just knowing how to properly utilize what you have with what you are given. Any character can be a beast on the battlefield if you know how to play your character. Now go kick some ass.